What's up, DAW Nation? My name is Wyatt Troy, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Behind the DAW. And what is Behind the DAW? It is a podcast where we interview music producers, artists, music industry experts, people of that nature on an emotional, philosophical, artistic, and music business basis. This is a companion podcast to our YouTube series, In the DAW, where we invite music producers to come and dissect their songs in real time. Recently, we've had people like Tynan, Slumberjack, Culprit, Julian Gray, Fabian Mazur. So if you're interested in seeing people like that in the electronic music field break down their songs, go ahead, check out the link in the description that says In the DAW playlist. It'll take you to all the episodes. Also, if you just want to listen to those episodes, those are the 0.5 episodes in the podcast. So the one right before this, which was episode 39.5, that one's going to be with Elliot Berger. So go ahead and check that out. Also, there's a couple things I want to talk about before we get into this episode. There are links down in the description for the Patreon. If you want to make sure that we can keep bringing you these episodes for free forever, please support us on Patreon for $1 a month. There's other options, of course, but for $1 a month, you get access to a private Discord community. And in that private Discord community, we stream all of the In the DAW and Behind the DAW episodes so that you can actually ask questions and meet the artists in real time. So if you can find it in your heart to support us on there, you will be extremely rewarded. The second thing I want to talk about is suggestions. If you have suggestions for people to come on the show, please, there's a link down in the description. We'd love to fulfill that, so go ahead and click on that. The third link in the description is for private lessons. If you want private lessons in electronic music production or in social media marketing, go ahead and click that. That has been a favorite amongst the fans. And plus, after you do that, then we make a cool little picture. We put you on our Instagram in the style of the cover art that we do with all the artists that come on the show. So go ahead and check that out. The fourth link down there is for a free consultation. If you want to enter to win a 20-minute free social media marketing consultation, boom, there's a link in the description. And then finally, there is a lot of books that we're going to be talking about in this episode. And so if you are interested in any of them, make sure to click the link in the description for the appropriate book. All right, that was a lot to get out of the way, but who are we going to interview today? Who's the lucky guy? Today is Henry Fong. Who is Henry Fong? I'm sure a bunch of you know who he is, but for those who don't know who he is a DJ, a producer. He's released on Spinnin', Revealed, Ausla, Mad Decent, Dim Mac, and so many others. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but here's some of the main things that I walked away with. We're going to be talking about how having responsibilities outside of music can actually help you make more music and make better music. What? That doesn't make sense. Don't worry. We're going to get into it. We're also going to talk about strategically sending your demos to bigger artists that you want to collaborate with. He's going to talk about how he collaborated with Hardwell when he was nowhere near Hardwell's size, so stay tuned for that. And then finally, we're going to talk about, can your music be so good that it will just speak for itself and you don't have to do any marketing behind it? Can it? We're going to talk about it. And then finally, if you like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, repost, follow, whatever is appropriate on the particular platform that you're listening on, like SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Deezer, YouTube. It just helps us know that what we're doing is moving in the direction that you need us to, DAW Nation. And one last thing, after you listen to this episode, I'd highly encourage you to check out the episode right after this. It is a bonus episode that I did with Henry Fong, where we dissect his social media. I give him a social media marketing consultation. So if you're interested in that, learning more about the marketing side of the music business, go ahead, check that out. Well, with all that said and all that out of the way, I want to introduce you to Henry Fong. I want to welcome you to this week of Behind the DAW. Henry, say what's up to DAW Nation and tell us something really embarrassing about yourself.
What's up, DAW Nation? Well, while everyone was in high school being cool and playing cool sports and things, I was a competitive laser tag player, and I was like,
good?
Me and my team, we were national champions.
You were national champions? How does one become a national champion of laser tag?
Bro, I don't know, man, but we traveled around. Once I got old enough to travel, I started playing when I was like 13, I think, 12 maybe. So by the time I was like 18, I was just wrecking people, dude. And we would travel, we had this team, and we would just travel around every year for the national championships. And they had regional tournaments too. And we would just travel around. And while my team was together, we were basically one of the top teams ever in the history of the sport. Yeah, we were undefeated in a couple tournaments, and we were really good, man. It was fun. But it was kind of embarrassing telling people that, especially when I was younger. But still kind of embarrassing.
Are you still pretty good at it?
I think it would take me a little bit to get back into it, bro. But to be honest, the system, the laser tag system's changed so much. So I think the system I used to play on is really outdated now. But it's just a hardcore group of probably about 100 to 150 guys that really keep up to date with it. It's like the same concept as like producers producing on analog gear. They're just so the style of the old stuff better that it's like kind of the same thing. People, the guys that like this system, they only want to play on that system. I mean, nowadays with like nerds are cool, dude. So it doesn't really matter. But my whole life, that's been something I don't really tell a lot of people because it's been pretty embarrassing. Because girls will be like, "Oh, laser tag player, cool."
Does your son know that you were a national laser tag player?
I don't think he knows what laser tag is yet. But
what are you doing?
Yeah, we gotta show him that one day though.
Dude, it's an honor to have you here. And we're gonna get into some really deep, really profound questions. But first, is it true that the only part of the mirror that you can lick is your tongue?
No.
No, you can lick other parts?
I think you're just licking the. Oh, I was just thinking of more like just plain, just like you're just licking the glass.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
If you're looking at a reflection, yeah, then you're just looking here. But I was looking at it like way like dumber. Like you're just the mirror. Is it way dumber or way smarter? I don't know. I'll let you decide.
I think it's smarter. All right, man. Do you feel like you're in a deeper mindset now?
I feel like I'm in a weird mindset now.
That's good. That's where I want you to be.
All right, good.
All right, cool, man. Well, we're really happy to have you on. We got some deep questions that we're going to get into now. First question that I love to ask people is, if I could make this interview absolutely worth it, man, I love that interview. This is great. What would be a question that you would want me to ask you to be like, man, I love that question?
I mean, I think the point of these is really to share knowledge with and inspire upcoming producers. And I just think there's a couple questions of just like how like stuff actually happens. There's just like real stuff. There's just like the way things work. Obviously, it doesn't work the same for everyone, but it's just like not a shortcut, but there's just like
special insight, so to say.
Yeah, it's just like how is the music business now, and what is required of people to be an artist now? And everyone has their own perception of that, unless you like work in the business and understand it, I think. And I feel like the answer that kids want to the answer that kids think they need to do is different from how it actually is. And there's a disconnect, I think.
What actually happens behind the scenes? I mean, what do people actually need to do?
I just think at the end of the day, you're trying to be an artist, and the way that things have changed. I mean, this is kind of like going down like a path away from production, which I'm a producer more so than I consider myself like a personality or an artist or anything. I mean, an artist, I'm using the term artist as like the full package of being an act. And I think now things have changed so much because of social media that I think when I started producing, it was, I would say 80% music, 20% brand, marketing, everything. And now it's more like 50-50, maybe even 60-40, 60% brand, whatever, and then 40% the music or whatever's the hot sound at the time. And I just think that's the harsh reality that I think a lot of people in the industry know now, and I don't think a lot of people on the outside know that.
What you wish to convey to the producers that are coming up is that the music and the artistry, the producing part of you can't just stand on its own anymore. And
so you can't just sit there and make really, really good music and just literally have no presence anywhere, no marketing, no branding. Like you have to at least be equal on those things, I think. But, at the end of the day, if the music is really, really good and you put a lot of time into it, I think that leads. But in order to really execute the full deal, I think it needs to be like you need to go pretty hard on the marketing side nowadays. And you need to be good at social media, and you need to have a cool brand, and you need to have a cool name and a cool logo and all this stuff. And it's just like, that is cut and dry, the simplest way that I can put it.
I completely agree. And so as a day job, I am a social media marketer. I completely agree with what you're saying because I understand the power.
How many SoundClouds and how many demos and kids that you came across that have 3,000 followers on SoundCloud and make amazing music?
Dude, every day.
All the time, right? It's like, well, why isn't that not translating? And these kids are getting frustrated. Well, I'm making good music. Why is this not happening? I'm making good music. And then boom, they give it a shot for a couple of years and they don't stick it through. But at the end of the day, it's turned into kind of like a machine of being an act and and like marketing's played a big role in that.
I definitely agree with the reality of what you're talking about right now. My question to you is, why do you think it's like that? Why is that even a thing? Why is this even a conversation?
Because just the rise of social media, and then the way algorithms happened, and this has the same thing to do with any news site. Why are all these news sites like Fox and CNN and posting all this stuff and clickbait headlines and all this stuff? It's just like, well, everything's got to cut through the noise, man. It's got to cut through the algorithms. It's got to cut through the noise. And stuff is more extreme. The headlines, it's like, crazy stuff all the time. And that's the only stuff that cuts through the algorithms and all of the oversaturation of social media. And it's the same with DJ. It's like, who's cutting through all that noise? It's like, well, you got to be doing something really, really crazy, or you got to be doing something really, really cool, or, you know what I'm saying? It has to be pretty much on a scale of 1 to 10. It's got to be 10 out of 10 level stuff every time. And unfortunately, I think that has to do with the way that social media reach works with the algorithms now. And back in the day, I remember even just 2-3 years ago, my reach on Facebook was insane. I was posting a photo getting like 4,000 likes. Now it's like post a photo, it's like nothing. Even you go look at the most relevant DJs right now. You go look at the top DJs, go look at them post a photo. They post a photo and it'll get like 1,500 likes. Whereas back in the day, they'd probably post a photo and it would get 20,000. If you're not going viral and you're not like really like have something that really that's a topic of a conversation, then if you're just your name's Joe Smith and you're making really, really good music, that's just not enough. I don't want to say that with a negative attitude, but this is the reality, I think, for what it takes to be an artist in today's climate, that not a lot of people are going to sit down and tell you that or talk about, because it's a little bit on the negative side. But at the end of the day, there's still really, really good music out there. And the music has, I think, evolved in a really, really good way right now. So on the positive side, I think we do have a lot of good music right now. There's a lot of really cool subgenres, a lot of artists still pushing the boundary with things. I think dance music's still only growing in that perspective.
I was talking to a client the other night about this, and he asked me, he's like, hey man, like I know people in the industry, like I know huge people in the industry. They're some of my best friends. I know I'm making good music, and I agreed with him. I think he's making fantastic music. And we're basically having this conversation that you and I are having right now. Is like, why aren't I growing? Why haven't I cut through yet? Shouldn't my music speak for itself? And I told him, I was like, if this was the 70s, your music would speak for itself.
If that was 2013, it would speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Even 2014. A lot has changed in the last 4 years. And you've literally seen some of your favorite DJs, producers in the day. You're like, where does this guy go?
The reason why is because, we have this amazing gift. We have this thing, which is the internet marketing, to help us basically connect with anyone on the planet at any given time. It's that we have to, but in order to do that, because they're getting pinged all the time, they're getting DMs all the time, they're getting messages all the time, there's things on their feed all the time, you have to find a way to cut through that. And so is what you're saying right now, the way that you cut through that is that you don't only have to have good music, of course, but you have to have that branding behind you, or else you can't. You're not equipped to cut through.
And then, some guys are able to forgo that whole thing if they just get like a viral hit song that just somehow through a weird series of events goes really big, like a big hit song, like, something like how like Martin Garrix's Animals happened, you know what I mean? But again, that was during a different time, but I'm just saying the way that song went viral, it's like, that still happens now, I think. And that's another way to do it, but there's not even a formula for how to make a song go viral like that.
It's so true, man. There's a book. Anyways, I listened to it on Audible one time, and the entire book is about what we're talking about. Is like the phenomenon of things going viral. And
I have that book. I have it.
Okay, perfect. So,
but I haven't. I've only like skipped through it. I haven't really read it.
I'd highly encourage you to read it. It's really, really good.
It's called The Tipping Point.
Oh yeah, The Tipping Point. Yeah, by Malcolm Gladwell. Is that right? Yeah, by Malcolm Gladwell. So in it was crazy because they can kind of point towards like what causes things to go viral, but they mostly can't. It's mostly like
the basics of that, I think, is they pinpoint 3 different types of people. There's salesmen, mavens, and connectors. Okay, so there's 3 types of people. Mavens are people that are really, really smart at what they do and good at what they do, and don't mind passing on the knowledge. Like everyone has like a friend that's a little nerdier, that's like on the computer and is like doesn't mind showing his friends how to code, or doesn't mind talking about whatever, and will sit there for 4 hours and teach someone just for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend like that too, that was showing me how to make music, and he didn't care he was just wanted to share his knowledge with me, and he was an expert. And then there's connectors. Connectors are just really social people that just know everyone, and then just like, you know, that guy that walks into the club and just knows everyone. Oh yeah, I can link you with my friend. Oh yeah, like just the popular guy that knows everyone kind of. And then there's, what's the other one they said? Oh, salesman, just exactly self-explanatory. And when you put those three people together in an environment, it takes those three types of people working together to create that catalyst for things to go viral, I think. And that's kind of the basics of the book.
Kind of along the same process. I mean, for the producers that are listening to this and they're coming up, the musicians that are listening to this, you know, what kind of branding tips would you give to them to help them get that 50% of the branding and marketing that's really important?
I just think at the end of the day, it's just high quality content. You know, you got to have good graphic designer, good photos, and a good video editor. And I think that's a good place to start. And, you know, it's not over the top expensive. You know, you can get a really, really top quality photographer to go do a shoot with you for $200, $250. You can get some video edits made for around the same budget from, you know, talented people too, that are just trying to work hard too. And I think that's a good place to start with your content.
So in that kind of situation where, you know, you need the content to be able to put out on the socials for you to stand out and stuff like that, would you then suggest people to save up money to do that? Or would you suggest them to learn that talent themselves and then do it? Or should they just focus on music and then?
I mean, either way. I mean, but yeah, again, at the same time, any time away from, you know, producing music and doing other things like video editing can be very tedious. It's like, in my opinion, I'd just rather pay someone to video edit for me than to learn video editing. But that's just me. If you can do it, great, but I wouldn't go out of your way to learn that or anything. But it definitely helps if you have a background, I think, in that.
With the podcast and with the YouTube series and stuff, I did learn video editing. Looking back, would I have done that again? To me, yes, but let me just say that I'm not someone that you should follow in this instance. Just because I would learn it again. I would do it again, just because I truly enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed learning how to do video editing, learning how to do Photoshop and stuff like that. You know, like that kind of stuff. So like, I really enjoyed it. But if someone, you know, is a music producer and they don't enjoy it, to me, that's just, you're just wasting time. You should just, you know, save up some money, hire it out, you know, contract out, do whatever you want. Do you agree with that?
You're right. It is hard though in the beginning, because, you know, take an upcoming producer that's in a, you know, just like living at home or something with their parents. And it's just like, you don't really have much money at first to put back into your business. So it's hard to create really, really good content. But I mean, nowadays with photo editing and filters, and there's also been a little bit of a shift towards good thought out content, but just filmed on your iPhone. Like raw iPhone videos are doing like really good right now on like Instagram and stuff. Like if you film your friend like tripping down the stairs on your iPhone and you like post it, it's gonna like crush. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's definitely that shift too and things. So you don't have to be like, you know, totally over. Yeah, I would just say generally just make sure the content that you put out is really good and your artwork looks good and your logo looks good and everything like that. And it's just like, what are people going to see? Well, they're going to type your name. They're probably going to go to your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever first, or your SoundCloud even, or even Spotify. Spotify, there's places to put all those press photos and stuff. There's biography. Like you need to make that look cool, I think too. And they're just going to click, and it's like, what are they gathering from just looking at your page? If they go to your Instagram, they should be able to look at your brand and just be like, okay, this guy is this. You know what I'm saying? And get like a general vibe from you. And I think that's really important. Like there's just people, I think, that do a really, really good job of that.
Two Friends, I love looking at their stuff, dude. It's just so good.
Oh yeah, they make cool mixes. I just know about their mixes.
Oh yeah, you should check out their Instagram, dude. It's hilarious, man. They're like everything about it is just so high quality, but it's so funny and it just fits their brand. You know what I mean?
I'm looking. Oh yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, see, I'm just looking at them, just like these dudes are like to party and they like to have fun, and they're two friends. They play crazy shows and they're like a duo. They're like best friends.
DAW Nation, if you want to listen to the Behind the DAW that we did with two friends, there I will include a link down in the description. Also, we were talking about the book, what was it? The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. If you guys want to check that out, I'll include a link in the description. And there's one more book that I want to talk about along the lines that we're talking about right now. How you were talking about, you know, if people come to your website or to your Instagram or whatever, and they're kind of like, they have to think, they have to figure out what you're about, what you do. Basically you're putting roadblocks in between them. Basically, someone should be able to come to your social media, to your website.
Make it easy and have your own look too. Like, you don't want to like have just a page that looks like everyone else's page, I think too. Like you want to kind of have your own, it's like your music sounds like your own style. And it's kind of like, I think you're like someone like who has a really good brand right now in dance music, someone like Rez. It's like, Rez has her stuff that she does with her brand, so that nobody else can really replicate, and I think that's really cool.
Exactly. And even if we were to look at your Instagram right now, if I was to look at your Instagram, I know what you are. Like, you're a DJ, you're a producer. You know what I mean? I don't look at your thing and I'm like, well, is he a divorce lawyer? Like, what is he? It's like, it's so easy that you're not like, no one has to burn brain calories. That's what I'm getting at, is no one has to burn brain calories when they come to your website. And that was, it's another book that I would highly encourage everyone. I'll link it down in the description. It's called The Story Brand Framework. And it focuses on that, like creating a story around your brand. But with that, you're supposed to make it so easy for people to know what you are. Of course, you can throw like twists and
what's that called? That sounds cool.
The Story Brand Framework.
Story Brand Framework. Cool.
Yeah, man. And it like just expands on the concept of like how humans are terrible at just soaking in information, but they're amazing at soaking in stories.
But especially in a climate of just super oversaturation and algorithms and all this nonsense, it's like you really, really just got to make it, I think, easy.
Let me ask you this: what if we rewound the clock? We're starting at the beginning days of Henry Fong, when when you're starting to get into music production and things of that nature. Let's say you didn't have a lot of money. We're kind of on this subject. We're like, all right, what if the producer doesn't have a lot of money? Walk me through, like, what would be your kind of strategy to start breaking into the music industry and to start just climbing that ladder?
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I was just in college, man, and my friend had some, he was a DJ and he had some turntables and a mixer, and I just learned from him. And then I borrowed his mixer, and then I practiced on Serato and turntables. I had actual vinyl turntables, and I would borrow his stuff. I learned how to play, and then I already knew a bunch of people from college, so I started getting these after I knew how to, like, the basics of DJing in my fraternity. I was like involved with like on my college campus, I was involved with Greek life and some like sports clubs and stuff like that. And I just knew a bunch of people, and then I just started getting thrown on gigs like, oh, you can DJ, just have him play this stuff. And then I just learned how to just play bars, college bars, fraternity events, you name it. It was all just because, I just borrowed my friend's stuff and learned how he taught me. It's pretty easy.
So you started to learn how to do stuff there, and then so what happened after that? Did you start producing tracks?
How I got money to survive for that stuff, like I was in college, like that's the point, like you get cut off from your parents or whatever. So it's like I got enough DJ gigs to start paying for things, but it wasn't based on my DJ skill. It was because, like, back what we were talking about earlier, I was kind of like a connector, just the kind of people that kind of know a little bit of everyone around and stuff. And I was able to get gigs because I could pull people out to the parties at the local college scene, I think. So that it really paid off to be social. Then that helped me get the gigs. So I was getting gigs and 4 nights a week. So I had only been DJing for 6 months, and I was, just got thrown into this really quick. And here I am playing these college bars and clubs for 4 nights a week or something. And 4 nights a week, even at the base level DJ fee, that's more than enough to just live.
So at this point, when you were learning how to DJ and you were getting these gigs and all that kind of stuff, were you learning to produce in the background? Was that kind of what was going on?
Yeah. So that's how it worked. After I got into it a little bit, I was like, people were like, well, if you want to keep doing this, you should make your own music. And I was like, okay. So then I learned how to make music while I had the liberty of this like open schedule. Like DJs, you go in, even on a, if you're just a normal top 40 club DJ, I would go in at 10 o'clock at night and I would leave at 2. So I DJ for 4 hours and that's it. So yeah, I got to drive there with my turntables and speakers and stuff, set all this stuff up. But at the end of the day, I was only working for 4 hours, 4 times a week. So I had so much time to learn how to make music, and it just all happened to work itself out to where I was like, had the freedom to sit down and put, 8 hours of music in every day before I would even go DJ at night.
Well, you were learning how to produce music and everything. So when you got to a point when you feel like you were comfortable with releasing the music, I mean, what was your strategy then? Were you reaching out to labels? What was
so I was like, I was just like really in tune with what was going on with like the internet and how blogs worked at that time, because I had helped my buddy write for his blog before. So I understand the game with blogs and how to email people and stuff. I just had I think I finished some like electro, like Mike Snow remix in like 2012 or 2011, dude. 2012 maybe. I just emailed it to a couple of blogs and it just started charting on Hype Machine. Back in the days where like Hype Machine was like, you know, the blogs and stuff. And I just kind of played the blog game a little bit and just had some remixes on SoundCloud. And I think maybe the first couple things I did, they got like 10,000 plays, but 10,000 plays was pretty good for a no-name person. You know what I'm saying? That was just like uploading random remixes to SoundCloud.
So as you're uploading these remixes, you're doing these things, you're kind of leveraging, you know, what's going on with kind of like internet marketing and stuff like that. So did you just keep doing that? I mean,
yeah,
like,
I kept putting out these like remixes and stuff. And then eventually me and my buddy finished a song and we emailed it to Hardwell's label, Revealed, in 2012, maybe still later, 2013, beginning of 2013. And Hardwell's label wrote back and they ended up signing it. And then once the doors were open with that song came out. It wasn't like a big song or anything, but it just opened doors. And then I just kept making music and just did like a steady stream of originals on different labels. And that was that. But it just took that first release though to get, look, we blind send in a demo. And like back at like, if you blind send in a demo right now to an A&R, like good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys get so many emails. Even back then they were getting so many emails. It was just pure, I don't know if you call it luck or whatever you want, but we sent a demo and they wrote back and they're like, hey, we like it. And they signed it. And me and my buddy were just like, dude, what the heck?
If someone was to send something to an A&R guy now, you're right. It's just like, there's so much going on right now. So you're kind of, let's put you kind of in the hierarchy of producers right now. Let's say there was someone on the lower end of the hierarchy that wanted to reach out to you, that wanted to get in contact with you and whatever. What is something that person could do that you'd be like, you know what, like you've cut through the noise, you've proved yourself, like let's talk, you know what I mean? Whether
I had a kid DM me a remix of one of my songs on Instagram the other day, and he's like, hey, I remixed your song Battery, check it. And I don't know, man, I just hit play and I was like, dude, this is sick. And I found this like kid had a sick remix, and now, you know, he sent it to me and I'm going to start playing it in my sets. And it's just something as little as that. I mean, I think the way I did it was a little strategic. I would just put myself in a position at these events, because after I knew all the promoters and stuff, and I became like I was a promoter too in my town, and I would just go to shows and just meet the artists themselves. So I was opening for a lot of the acts, and then that's how I met a lot of the DJs. And then I would, you know, you open for them once and then they come to the city again, you open for them twice, they recognize you, you say what's up, and they'd be like, yo, here's my USB, I got some demos, or hey, what's your email? And then I would just get emails. I think one of the first ones I remember getting like that was like Showtech. I remember like meeting Showtech at a show. I was like, hey, what's your email? And they gave me their email, and then when I finished something I thought they would like, I just sent it to them and they would start playing it. And the game is different now, man. You know, I honestly, in this climate, I honestly couldn't even tell you what works anymore. Like that definitely could work still. Just, you know, I would go to shows, meet the artists, put yourself in a position where you just meet them face to face. I mean, trying to DM people and trying to bomb their promo email and stuff, it doesn't always, I just feel like the odds are very, very unlikely now. And the best thing you can do is just figure out a way to get in real life. You know, you're going to have to, you know, you're gonna have to just finagle it. Like sometimes it's like, how am I gonna get backstage? I don't know. You just gotta figure it out. You know, if you really want to do it, that you'll find a way. Whether you know someone, whether you pay someone, or whatever you gotta do, man.
Why do you do what you do with music? I mean, why spend all this time, all this energy? Why are you in music, man? I
first started out, I just wanted to be a DJ, and then the music came along with it. And I really wasn't a natural musician. So it was weird for me. But I had I could play guitar, I could play piano, I could play, I was in band for a couple of years. I played saxophone. So I had like a bass, kind of musicality, I think. So when it came to actually learning how to make music, I wasn't like tone deaf, and that definitely helped. I actually enjoyed DJing so much that I initially was making music just so I could keep DJing. So I kind of got into it for not the wrong reasons, but I approached it differently than a lot of other people. A lot of people are like just producers in their room, and then they have to go learn how to DJ to go tour. Like I remember seeing Alesso start touring, and Alesso was a producer first. And I remember him start touring, and then someone was like, yo, he just learned how to play on CDJs like last week. And then I saw him at some club in Miami. And it was just like, everyone's like, yeah, he just learned how to like DJ or something. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But I just think that at this point now, I understand that writing music, that's what leaves the lasting impact, and that's what actually changes. That's what actually resonates with people. And I think I enjoy just making whatever I want to make, and just, I don't know how to describe it. So I kind of evolved from just learning how to make music just so I could keep DJing to now I'm more of a producer.
You create music because you like it to resonate with other people, right? Is that kind of the core of what you do?
Yeah, at the same time, I feel like what really drew me into it was making festival records that DJs were playing. Like, I just absolutely started doing it because I loved hearing my music play at the big festivals. Like, I really enjoyed, like, in the beginning of it, I was just like, let's say Tiesto like played one of my records or something at Ultra, like 2012. And I'm like, this is dope. Like, that's all I want. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was cool that all these people were dancing to some track I made. And I honestly thought that was as big as it could have gotten. I really like to make, from there, my path, I just really like to make club records. So I had so much experience in like top 40 at like normal clubs and bars and stuff that I think I had a good sensibility for what was really going to work in the club. And that became my thing. Like, I was making music to play at festivals and clubs only. That was making people dance. And then I kind of think that's what I started my whole career off of, is just making like club records, festival records. And I just really enjoyed doing that. I don't know what it was. I was just like, I like watching these people dance to something I made in my room. It's just, I thought it was cool. I mean, there's nothing really else to say about it, I think, than that. But yeah, then that's kind of evolved. I think as I evolved as an artist now, it's more like, what do I actually like? Not what do all these people want to hear. It's like, now it's my turn, you know? I feel like before I was just making whatever was going to get played at the festivals and clubs, which you still could obviously innovate in your own way and do your own thing. But now it's like, hey, look, I think there's just such a different new world that's opened up now. And I think it has to do with just like, what do I want to make now?
So what do you want to make now?
Dude, I've loved reggae long before I've listened to dance music. And a lot of my new stuff is like, I have one record that's like actually like verse, chorus, like no drop coming out. Like, and it's just like it just feels right. You know, it's not, I wouldn't even call it's not even dance music, but it's just like, that's what I want to make. Cause that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's, like, what do I do on a normal a day? You know, I wake up, I go surfing, I come back and work on music in the studio all night or whatever. And it's like, that's like an average day for me. To a certain extent, I'm not in the club all the time, and I can't just make club music because that's not what my life actually is 24/7. And I felt like now it's time to make make the music that fits the other part of my life, which is before what I was doing before dance music and before and when I'm outside of the club. And I think a lot of that comes off to a lot of fans as selling out, trying to make radio records, if that makes sense. I think a lot of DJs just hit the cap with what they can do with like the festival playable records. And I'm trying to explain this in an easy way, and this is like hard because I've never really talked about this. I think now I'm in a point where I enjoy both. You have two moods, you know, like sometimes you want to go out and go to the club, and sometimes you just want to kick in and relax. And I feel like it's important as a producer to produce things that are all your actual moods, not just like, you know, just say you're this dark techno DJ and you only make this dark techno music. Well, it's like, dude, I mean, if that's your life, okay, great. But I'm sure there's techno DJs that go out and kick it on the beach and play sports and relax in the car and go to yoga and do all these other things. And it's just like this dark, that one-sided channel of music can't possibly accurately depict someone's life from a full picture, I think. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm a surfer at heart. That's what I do. That's my favorite thing to do. So it's like I drive up and down the California coast, like looking for new spots, surfing new waves, my friends and stuff. And it's just like, at the end of the day, that's a big part of my life too. And I just was like, that wasn't being heard in my music of this other half of my life. And it's just like, now I'm working with all these reggae bands that I've looked up to for years now and stuff. And it's really, it's kind of and some of these like dance hall singers and stuff. And it's just kind of a cool chapter for me going pre-dance music. What was I doing before dance music, and how can I bring this in to where it is now? But I still make club records. I still enjoy that. Like, so one day I'll wake up in the studio, I'm writing bangers. The next day I'm waking up and I'm writing some chill reggae song. And it's just like, I like the fact that I'm accurately depicting all sides of my life right now through the music.
Do you feel like you should put both of those songs underneath one umbrella, underneath one brand, or are you going to make another brand for the other things?
I think the why I just kept my name Henry Fong is just my real name. It's just, I'm just a person. So I just kind of, I didn't want to be hiding behind some alias, I think. And I just wanted to be kind of just me, a normal dude, I guess. So I think that from a business standpoint, maybe it would be better to put it, under some alias or something, and has a cool name, that has a brand and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, what you see is what it actually is. It's just me, and this is all the different styles of music I make, because I'm just a person and I have various emotions, and it's just like, that's what it is, man. That's kind of my approach the whole time. I just wanted to be me. Like, I felt weird. I felt weird having a moniker or an alias, so I just didn't even go down that route.
My kind of final topic that I want to talk about, and then Leo, I know Leo has some good questions that he's going to want to ask, but the final topic that I kind of want to talk about with you is, you mentioned that you have a son. I have 2 kids and a wife, and so we both have a family, but we both have other responsibilities that are more important than music. And so my first question with that is, how do you balance it, dude? Because it is literally just a crap show every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just really put in my time when I'm home. I think when I come home from tour, it's just time to help out, and I put in the time, I help out, do everything, and when I'm gone, I'm gone. So it's like, when I'm home, it's like, I'll probably leave here in 30 minutes to go pick them up from school.
Even when you're with your family, is there no crossover? Like you don't get any pings or dings on your phone, and you're like,
Unfortunately, I do.
How do you separate that? Because that is my biggest thing.
It's been hard, man. It's a struggle to separate everything.
And on the opposite side too, like when I'm in the flow of doing work and stuff like that, it is so hard to be away from my family and not think about them. You know what I mean? It's like a vicious cycle. Yeah,
it really is a vicious cycle. But I think the best part about all this is the balance. And I think that's why what's kept me going, is that I have this balance of this like normal family life, relatively normal. And then I have this touring DJ producer life. And I think without one or the other, things wouldn't be working, and it works in harmony in a weird way, because I get my fix from everything. Like, imagine if you were just only a touring DJ and you didn't have a family, didn't have anything else. It's like, it's probably fun for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you're going to start maybe get a little lonely, or you're on the road so much or whatever. So I get this balance. Like, I go on tour for so long, and I can't wait to get back and go hang out with my family. And I hang out with my family for a month, have off tour, and then by the time I've done a bunch of stuff with them, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go back on tour now. And it's this weird, like, perfect balance. Actually juggling the balance when I'm home is pretty difficult. And I don't think I've mastered it yet, but I think I do a pretty good job.
That is so good, dude. I've never put it in those words that you're talking about. That like they kind of equal each other out. They have to. One brings life to the other. You can't really have one without the other.
It's the same thing what we were talking about before. It's like, imagine just making only one style of music for only one specific mood, but really as a person, you have way more than one mood, but you're only producing one type of thing. It's like, that'd be weird, right? But imagine having these two sounds living in harmony. Like, there's a lot of big producers that have two sides. They have a melodic side and then they have a hard side. I'm trying to think of like a good example. Like even take some of the biggest DJs, for example, take like Chainsmokers. It's like, you go to a Chainsmokers show, it's like they have their radio songs that everyone can sing along, and then they're playing these like hard dubstep bangers, and it just kind of like, for their live show, it just kind of like works in harmony for them. And I think producers should have two sounds. Like, you should know them for a more relaxed sound, and then you should know them for their hard sound too. And I think another guy that actually did a really good job with that in the past was someone like Tommy Trash. Tommy Trash had one of the biggest melodic EDM records of all time with Reload, but he had his grungy electro sound too. But you could hear that sound out of nowhere and be like, that's a Tommy Trash song, whether it was either mood. And I think that's really dope when producers can do that.
I love to relate basically everything to Marvel movies. Like how you're saying, like these big artists, like they have these two sides, these two distinguishing factors. And if we take Marvel movies for an example, they have those two things. You know that it's going to be, very superhero-ish, but you also know it's going to be funny. Like, all of their movies are super funny, like super witty and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I do see why artists start start different aliases, because a lot of the hardcore fans will like know you from one thing, and they just, for some reason, they just want that one thing. Because if they're getting that one thing from you, and whatever the other feelings they want, they're probably getting it from another artist. You know what I'm saying? So but I think that's really cool when artists are able to deliver two different feelings in a cohesive way, but that still sounds like them. And that's kind of what I'm on a mission to do, I think, at the moment.
Mr. Leo.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, so I did have a question here. So one of the questions that I did have was, I noticed that you do have some releases on Spinning, Revealed and Demonic. And I'm just curious to see about how different these labels are and how your experiences are with them.
Yeah, they're all amazing labels, and I've worked closely with all of them for years now, and they're definitely different. I think like Spinning's a really good like international, worldwide audience. DIMAC is worldwide too, but DIMAC, I think for me living in California, it kind of just certain releases fit better there maybe than certain ones for Spinning.
Okay.
So I kind of take that into consideration too. So I think different labels definitely reach better in different parts of the world, and you kind of have to take that into consideration, I think.
Well, I noticed you had a track with Hardwell. How was your experience working with him?
Yeah, that was cool, man. I mean, that was the whole thing that happened was really random. A lot of people don't realize he was like a Bublin DJ and producer before. Bublin is like this weird subgenre they had in Holland, and it's kind of like really sped up dance hall, I guess you could say. So they took all the drums from like a lot of the old dance hall songs, that. Yeah. So they took those like the drums that you kind of know from like some of the Moombahton Latin stuff. All those drums are sampled from all these dancehall records. And in Holland, they had this genre where they were using all those drums and just like chucking them on top of like these dance records. So this like weird subgenre of got really popular in Holland, but it's very inspired by dancehall, and that's how Hardwell came up. So I was like making this dancehall song one day, and I was just like, I'm gonna send this to Hardwell. I don't know. I don't know how I thought about it, because we've been talking for a while, just like yo, send me stuff, whatever. And then I was like, finally got something. I was like, hey man, I know this is different, but what do you think about doing like a dancehall record? And so I sent it to him, and because I know he has an ear for that stuff because of his from his bubbling beats in the past that he was doing in Holland before he was doing dance music.
Strategically sending demos to people. I like that. That's very...
I do, yeah. Because I know he had the ear for it, and I know he would understand it, It's just like... So I sent it to him, and he's like, yo, man, this is dope. And then he got me and another guy that I write with all the time, this guy, Richie Loop. Me and him wrote the original demo, and then I sent stems to Hardwell, and then Hardwell finished it and then got Mr. Vegas on it. And he like texted me, like, I don't know if you guys know who Mr. Vegas is, but he's like a kind of like dancehall like legend. He had one of like the biggest dancehall songs of all time, basically. Yeah. One of them with that tie. And he told me, he was like, yo, I got Mr. Vegas on it. I was like, yo, that's so dope. It just kind of happened, dude. And it was weird. And we put out the song, and like, it doesn't really fit in a Hardwell set, but he was like, he was cool with that because he'd been a fan of Mr. Vegas. He loves dancehall from his past. And I think that was cool for both of us to do, work with Mr. Vegas, because we both listened to dancehall before, back in like the early 2000s. I think that record is like super hot record. That's and here awesome. We are, we get to work with him. So that's cool.
Thanks so much for coming through, Leo, and asking these questions, man. And really quick, we're coming to an end here. So, hey, man, I just want to say thank you so much for coming through. Leo, thank you for coming through as well. But is there any final words for our listeners, man?
Yeah, just keep at it, man. I mean, I think the most important thing with all these producers is like, dude, you just never know what's going to happen. And if you quit, like you really just have to, I don't know, how do I say it? Like you really just have to push past that point where you think it's like, it's not possible. I mean, I'm sure there's so many people that have just decided to just like bow out and quit because of one reason or another. And it's just like, if you don't keep going, then you're just never going to know. And I just felt like I just kept pushing through. And, I'm not going to say that my musical talent is amazing, because I think they're way better producers than me. I just think I just push through.
DAW Nation, just keep going. The only time you fail is when you give up. If you mess up, it doesn't matter. That's not failure.
But
everyone messes up.
This advice is like, it's one of the most common things ever in the history, I think. But it's like, that's why it's so common, because everyone that's been through it, they know.
It's so common, but still no one follows up with it. Not no one, obviously people do, but
like you could be an expert at anything. You just got to put your time into it.
Exactly. The potential of humanity is insane. You can learn and do anything you want as long as you actually put in the time to learn and to do it. So, all right.
So my challenge, I think I'm going to start jiu-jitsu soon. So we're going to come back and hit me up next year, and we'll see where I'm at if I start.
Hey, DAW Nation. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Behind the DAW with Henry Fong. If you are interested in the Patreon, giving suggestions for artists to come on the show, getting private lessons in electronic music or social media marketing, enter to win that free 20-minute social media marketing consultation, or any of the books that we talked about in this episode, there are links for those down in the description. Make sure to check out that. Also, again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, repost, follow, whatever is appropriate to the particular platform that you're listening on, like iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Deezer, anything like that. It just helps us know that what we're doing is moving in the direction that you need us to. Finally, I'd highly encourage you to check out the next episode of Behind the DAW. It was the episode that I talked about at the beginning of the podcast. It is a bonus episode with Henry Fong where we dissect his social media marketing plan. I give him tips and tricks. It's a free consultation for you to listen to, so go ahead, make sure to listen to that. And then I also encourage you to check out the last episode of Behind the DAW that we did with Wubix. That was a really great episode. He's a 15-year-old producer living in Romania who has 100K following on YouTube. So please check that out. There's links in the description, or you can just check it out on the playlist, whatever works out best. But DAW Nation, thank you so much for partaking of Behind the DAW today. You have a fantastic day, all right? We'll talk soon.